Welcome to our series of conversations, an initiative of the Hamzabon Cultural Foundation. Our conversations each time revolve around how we can build a peaceful, just, and prosperous Iran for all of us to thrive in. Today I'm joined again by Dr. Iraj, and we'll be talking a little bit about family life and the role of family life in building societies. Now, one of the very intriguing ideas I've come across is this idea that family is really the repository or birthplace of trust. And this is very interesting because of all the mistrust we have in so many of our societal institutions, big business, government, religion, all these things. Now, how does the role of family come into play in building trust and really being an important cornerstone for society?
Yeah, I think family, as we know, irrespective of where we come from, is the very first experience that we have of interactions with other human beings. And of course, embedded in our experience is the Creator's love and inseparability that comes with it. Inseparability of the baby with the mother, and it's a reciprocal in this sort of inseparability. And then the father, and as we grow in that unit, we learn a lot of stuff that later in life we have to draw on. Most importantly, issues of confidence, trust you mentioned. And it's interesting that in economic literature these days, as one of the drivers or major contributors to prosperity is the extent to which individuals in every society can trust others. But if you think about it daily in our economic business activities, if we had full trust, how much you would have saved, how much time, how much legal fees, how much resources we would have saved by just trusting that what people tell us or what we tell people is actually worth believing in. Of course we don't. Of course, we now grown, society has grown both in the East and the West. And interestingly enough, it doesn't matter which religious background we come from. One of the interesting research is that when you go, for example, to one or other religious, in Iran, for example, they all talk about trust being one of the attributes of a religious person. But look at society in Iran today. Can they trust each other? If you go to the Jewish communities, the same thing. If Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, it doesn't matter. Back to the family. We need to ask the question, what is happening in our families these days that makes children not trusting their parents? Why is it that parents often treat their kids, especially the teenagers, especially the youth, as if these individuals are unknown and they have to be monitored and cannot be trusted? What have we done? Do we think about them as individuals that we as parents have helped grow and yet we cannot trust them? Where did things go wrong? So I think families becomes very important, not just from individual satisfaction, comfort, happiness, but in a much broader way within the society, if we want the society to be successful and prosperous.
This seems to kind of tie in with what we spoke about last time, which is education. There's so much of education that happens in family life and values. So it seems that family is really the place where we learn about values. So what's happening with our values? How come we've sort of moved away from that, or what can we do to regain a sense of what values are?
Yeah, I think values, again, in a popular language, we talk about the importance of upbringing. Mm-hmm. Now, upbringing is an interesting terminology because it embeds, it connotes and contains a great deal of values, ethics, all the way to nutrition. How have we been brought up as to what is right and what's not right to eat? Of course, the scientists these days, they tell us that you are what you eat, which means you cannot discount the importance of nutrition that we do. The importance of our emotional stability in relation to the values that are embedded in us. If we have been brought up, and as part of our upbringing is trust, respect, reciprocity, generosity, hospitality, truthfulness, which is the foundation of all the virtues, and we can go on and on. So if we go that route, then upbringing is conducive to not only personal happiness and prosperity, but also communal, social achievements. The opposite is also true. If our upbringing is full of lies, full of mistrusts, full of white lies, too much of it. So what do we grow up with? We grow up as individuals, we're always looking for separating white lies from other colors of lies. And all of that, whether we like it or not, by the time we are teenagers, by the time we are youth, by the time we take our first job, the first day that we arrive in a first professional job environment, we're not trusting everybody. We're now scanning subconsciously or consciously as to who is who can be trusted, who should not be trusted, etc., etc. So it goes back to the family. Then the continuity of education becomes important. What happens in the family and what happens at school, again, there needs to be some level of coordination, some level of sort of synchronization, and very importantly, some level of complementarity. In other words, you can't have a child 5 years old in the family has been brought up to be trusting, but the first day at school, the environment gives them exactly the opposite. It shatters their dream that you can trust everybody because there is bullies around, there is disrespect. Whoever is the teacher, he or she doesn't treat them with respect or with the type of trust that they've been brought up. So then it brings us the link between family environment and the education system. That is what the society experiences.
Or individuals and community, or individuals and institutions, and how important that interplay is. Absolutely. And also as a parent, I actually always think that it's very important to convey to our children that we are so learning all the time. It's like we're all learning at the same time. We have that sort of spirit of learning eternally.
I think importantly on that, just because I know we have time is an issue, is it's interesting that in many aspects of our life, from mathematics to house cleaning to driving to whatever you think, there are booklets and there are courses and so on. One thing that we haven't developed is how to be a good parent. And we just flight it, and all of us experiment on a very important issue, and yet we haven't been put through a course of how to be a parent, what not to do, and what are the basic things that you should do.
Amen. I'm with you. Thank you so much, Iraj. As always, we've scratched the surface. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share your thoughts with us. Log on to www.hamzaban.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you so much.